featured speaker, you guys, all the way. Well, if you're in the UK, it's not all the way for you, but it's all the way for me in California. But she's outside of London. This is our featured speaker, I believe. First time one of our UK coaches is on the national wake-up call. So I'm very, very happy and excited because she has earned this spot today. So please give her your undivided attention and please tag your coaches, okay? We still have more to go. That was pure fire this morning, okay? So she is currently a 5-star diamond coach. She has been a Premiere Coach 3 times, you guys. 3 times a Premiere Coach. In the UK, she is ranked number 2. She ended the year as number 2 coach in the UK, and she's currently number 32 in the entire network of over 400,000 coaches. Her team name is Hustle and Heart, so I hope you guys are all cheering her on in that. On that. And you guys, please give it up for Izzy Bradshaw. Izzy, come on into the live stream. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much.
I would say, did Keyshawn and Michelle wake you up? But it's 4 p.m. over there, right?
Yeah, wake me up a little bit more.
You're going to be up a little bit more. Okay, I want to give you the floor here. Tell us about that wake-up call moment when you found Beachbody, you decided to become a coach. Give us your story.
Yeah, so when I found Beachbody, I was very much a new mum. My background actually isn't in fitness at all. So I had a 10-year corporate property career in the centre of London. I had worked my way up, created a mass amount of success for someone at the age of 30. In fact, I was one of the youngest directors within my whole corporate property firm in London. And I think that was really where this anxiety started to culminate, where I had reached the top of that ladder, right? I should be really, really delighted and pleased with, everything that I'd achieved. But instead of feeling like that regularly with my husband, who is also in real estate, I would get in the car on a Friday night and I would regularly burst into tears. And that really kind of got compounded when I had my son. And in the property industry, I don't know if anyone here works in the property industry, working Arthur's hours around the nursery was impossible. So we had to get a full-time nanny, and we had that full-time nanny, and I would literally leave the house at 6:30 in the morning and I would get back at 7:30 at night. And that really, regularly I was crying every day. I literally at that point felt so disconnected from what I was doing. I not only felt like I was missing out on so many milestones with Arthur, I really genuinely felt like I wasn't really giving back to the world. And one night I received this call from a client, a developer client. One of my negotiators had gone on holiday and she hadn't done a handover for the deal, and he was literally screaming at me. And Arthur was 9 months old at the time. And my husband got home and I just said to him, I can't do this anymore. And he said, what do you mean you can't do this anymore? We've got a massive mortgage to pay, very much kind of a joint breadwinner situation. I said, I'm going to find a way because I can't do this anymore. And it's going to make me ill. And I'm missing out on so much of Arthur's life. And really throughout all of my life, fitness had always been a massive part of my life. I was a gymnast and hurdler when I was younger. But whenever I would get stressed in my corporate job, I would always turn to fitness. And so I, kind of thought about what I could do. I knew whatever I did, I needed to make a success of it pretty quickly. As I said, we did have a big mortgage to pay, but I also wanted to do something which felt massively meaningful to me. And for me, fitness, as I said, has always run in my life. So I decided to requalify as a personal trainer, which meant I was serving out my 6-month notice period as a director. That was one of, the kind of stipulations. And then at the weekend, I was leaving Arthur for even more time to go into London to complete my personal training qualification. And at that time, I set up my Instagram. I came across my coach and literally was mesmerized by her page. She had everything at that time that I really didn't have. She was really happy. She seemed really confident. She had this freedom that I so was the polar opposite of, that I just, as I say, I was mesmerized by her. I wanted that life and I felt so trapped in the role I was currently in. And then one day she posted that she had this info session, and I was kind of your dream coach in that respect. I was like, please, let me in. I want to take a peek at this. And when I learned it was Beachbody, I was literally like, sign me up. I was the girl that before our wedding had done the Insanity DVDs. I'd seen them actually on an infomercial when we'd done the PC1 road trip in California. And I'd done them when Arthur was 6 weeks old. And really, I started coaching because I needed to work on myself. I knew as a new personal trainer, I needed to get fit and healthy. And I didn't have the time to go to the gym. My husband still, I mean, he still does work really long hours. He was working really long hours at that time. And so I decided to do this for me. And I thought, what's the worst that can happen? You know, maybe I happen to help a couple of people along the way, and I'll get to work on myself, and it could be an additional part to my business. So that's really how I started. And when it started to take off, was when I actually went to a Tina Turner event. It was something that Carl Deichler hosted for us. We went into London. I was one of the top Success Club earners for the summer months, and I met a couple of the corporate people, and I really started to catch the vision. And I started to see that there were girls within the UK network who were building a real viable business with it. And at the time, I was starting to think about, you know, we talk about dabbling and going all in. I was thinking about building to diamond. And after that event, I came home and I said to my husband, I'm going to do this. I'm going to build it around my PT. And I really recognized and realized, you know, it was a light bulb moment. I wasn't taking this business seriously. I wasn't building small pockets of time. I didn't have a designated space for it. I took a space at the end of the kitchen table, and I decided, right, this business activity tracker thing, this BAT thing that I don't even really know what it was, quite honestly. I'm going to do this every day because I think I can do this. And if those girls there can do it, so can I. And that was really where I started to level up and change and build consistency in my business.
You know, I want to share with the audience that we are a global company. We are in the UK, in France, in Canada, in the US, and the similarities between struggles of time not spent with kids, of a job that you don't like, of, you know, a health going south, your health and wellness, it's the same. There is no difference between us in America and you in the UK. Everything that you are talking about is everyone we meet. They are going through something. I so appreciate you sharing your story, not only because your accent is great, but it's so real. And it is everyone we meet. So thank you for that. Now I want to advance it to the topic. The topic that you're going to talk about today is what many coaches struggle with. Just coming off of what Michelle Churchill just talked about is inviting. You're inviting all the time as a coach. That is what you're doing. Inviting to a group, inviting to drink Shakeology, inviting to work out. You're becoming a professional inviter. So sometimes you can get stuck in a rut, right? You can keep inviting to groups and somehow you're not into it anymore. Then your group's not into it anymore. So what I'd like you to do is talk a little bit about how personal this topic is to you, and then go into what you've been doing to improve that engagement.
Yeah, so this is actually such a personal topic to me, believe it or not. You know, as a new coach, if I think about my own journey and about my own accountability, I've actually always been the girl that's pretty accountable to my own goals. Okay. I'm just like that as a person. I'm pretty self-motivated, which I think on reflection is actually the reason why I struggled so much with it, because I didn't appreciate that people coming in weren't the same as me and they needed different things. And so my challenge groups, you know, bod groups, as we now call them, I call it a wellness studio. I always, you know, as Sani just said, like I didn't massively enjoy it. So probably the invite felt a bit convoluted. And I was always way more successful at getting coaches to join me than I was challengers. And as time went on, I really recognized that, you know, the more I learned, the more I realized that this business is absolutely underpinned by challenge groups or bod groups. And my groups weren't cutting the mustard. It's a very English phrase. I don't know whether you say that, but that's what we say over here. And so I really decided to review what I was doing. And I want you to just take a few notes as I go through. So I reviewed my groups and I looked at what wasn't working, right? If we want to make a plan to build engagement in our groups, we need to be willing to look at what's currently going on, okay? So I looked at it and I realized that there wasn't continuous engagement, right? And I'm sure you've all had this problem where you go in, you share your daily check-in. It wasn't that I wasn't sharing that. You know, you've got your little, you're sharing what you're doing, and then it feels a little bit like crickets. And when you're a newer coach, that does happen. And I realized that with the advent and, you know, invention of the bod groups, I was creating new groups every month. But what was happening was that those people that were engaging, I would then create another group, and I had so many groups to manage that the engagement wasn't all coming together in one place. And it really wasn't creating this ethos that was encouraging, enthusiastic, and energetic. And I decided that I needed to look at creating one group. So that's something you can look at. But as I said, first things first, review your group. What's not working, okay? And what does it need to be? So I looked at it and I thought, well, it needs to be inclusive, which is why I looked at creating the one group thing in bod groups. It needs to be engaging, fun, and clearly, because of what we do, it needs to be results driven. You know, we're here to get people results. That is our job. And if we're not doing that and creating an environment where that can easily be seen for our clients and it's easy to follow, then we're not going to get them for them. Okay. So I then thought about what helped me get consistent. Like, why do I love this so much? What's helped me get really consistent results? And if I think back to my journey, much like Michelle was saying earlier, it boiled down to, right, I'm sticking to the program, like whether or not it's a daily workout or something like Lift 4, where you're perhaps doing it 4 days a week. I'd had the Shakeology, I'd gone all in, I'd completely fallen in love with it. I was the girl that had such chronic acne that I had really bad confidence. I spent hundreds of pounds on Harley Street, and it really blighted me into my adult life, and it had changed everything for me. The nutrition, I had gone all in on Ultimate Portion Fix, and I had got the most incredible results with it. And the personal development was kind of the major thing for me. I was the girl that came out of corporate London, and when my coach said to me, "Are you doing your personal development?" And I was like, no, not really. I really had that narrow mindset of, you know, I don't need this. I've had a really successful career. Why do I need some self-help book? Which is exactly the reason why I needed it. So I thought about those things and think about, again, like, ask yourself this question, write it down. What has helped you get consistent results? And why do you love your journey? Okay. For me, as I said, the biggest game changer for me was with the personal development. Okay, so then what's working? What's working in your group? And what do you most enjoy? And this is so, so important because it helps you pinpoint in your groups what's going well. As I said, I was sharing daily check-ins. It wasn't that I wasn't doing that. I was sharing my workout and my Shakeology. But it also wasn't really bringing in everything that we learn as a coach, right? Our vital behaviors. A lot of those we can get our clients to replicate, and we should be. And I wasn't doing that. Okay. So I was focusing on fitness, Shakeology, but I wasn't asking my clients to share their nutrition, to share that they were following either Ultimate Portion Fix or 2B Mindset. And I wasn't getting them to share or even think about personal development, which, as I've said, is a fundamental that's made such a huge difference to my life. And it is the thing I really most enjoy as a coach. And if you've been a coach for any length of time, you will absolutely know that mindset is the cornerstone to this business. Fitness is great, but without that sitting at the bottom, as I tell all my clients and coaches, you can't build anything. So started to think about that and what I most enjoy. And this is something that I share a lot with my coaches. I will regularly say, yes, think about what the market needs. What do your clients need? But think about what you enjoy. As we've said, like, the topic of this call is about building energy and engagement in your groups. And if you're sharing something, like, I'll be completely honest, you're never going to get me, you know, presenting kind of cookery show style bod group because I don't love to cook. I'm not the cook of the house. I follow Ultimate Portion Fix. But if nutrition isn't a genuine passion of yours and you build a group around it, it's going to fall flat because people are going to vibe and attract to things that you love, right? And so for me, it was about pinpointing that personal development whilst building it around everything else. So really think about that in terms of what you enjoy within what we do at Beachbody. How could you create your group to be engaging around something that you most enjoy? Because energy breeds energy, and that is the absolute lifeblood to our business, whether or not that's in your posting in your stories or whether or not that's in your groups or your team pages. What do you most enjoy? Because your people are going to enjoy that too. I then thought about teaming up. You know, I was running this group on my own. It was just kind of my voice. It was honestly really boring. And I really implore you to think about, how do you feel about your group? Do you feel excited to go in, or are you a bit bored? Because if you're bored, it is absolutely time to change it up. And so for me, you know, I'm a busy mom. I have my little boy. As I said, my husband works really long hours. I'm building this around really busy family life. And I felt, not only for kind of time wise, but also for client enjoyment, that it would be far better if I teamed up with somebody. And I thought about what kind of person that would be. And I'm not saying to you guys, you know, write down team up and go and team up with someone tomorrow, because you need to be really careful with who you potentially team up with. Have they got similar goals in their business? Do they have a similar energy? And do you get on with them? Because you need to have similar core values. Likewise, if you're someone that loves to have control of your group and know what's going on down to every last detail, clearly teaming up with somebody isn't going to work. But for me, that was something that I decided my group need to have. So coming back to those vital behaviors, right? If we think about, again, what we enjoy and love as a coach and how and why we've seen our own personal success with our journey, we will know that it is down to creating a habit of either exercising daily or keeping on plan with the program that we're following. That's the physical fitness program. Number 2, personal development. Again, we talk about that being the lifeblood, a minimum of 15 minutes every day. Well, I was going to build that into my groups, and I was going to ask that of my challengers and coaches. So new coaches come into my groups so that they can learn to replicate what I'm doing. Okay, so I was going to ask them to share that every day, 15 minutes, whether that's physically reading or listening, whether it's an Audible or a podcast, or whether they're just listening to a meditation. That was something I wanted to build in, and I wanted it to be flexible, because we all know that this business is built to be flexible. We've got some people that don't have time to physically read a book, but I wanted it to create that inclusive piece where people could share what they were enjoying. And of course, what we're going to enjoy personal development wise, one to the other, is going to be different, and that builds engagement. So that was number 2. So number 1 was sharing that fitness, which with BOD we can easily share, right? We've got the tracking part of the app, we share what we're doing, and if we're added to our BOD group, it feeds right in, as it does for our clients. The personal development was something that I needed to look at building in. Number 3, sharing an ultimate portion fix or to-be mindset recipe. It didn't need to be elaborate. As I said, like, I'm not massively into cooking. It's never been my jam, but I'm into following ultimate portion fix. And so I was going to ask of my clients to share one meal or one snack that follows to-be mindset or ultimate portion fix as part of this. And finally, Shakeology. Again, with BOD, it's super easy. We go in, we click tracking, we add that Shakeology, and it feeds into our group. And that was going to be kind of the basis of my group, and it's how I was going to build upon it. So I built the group on those 4 fundamentals. And then I really thought about, okay, why and how have I got results, with my business, with my own journey? Well, it's being accountable to people, but it's also the prizes, the recognition. As coaches, we love recognition. There's no point us hiding behind that. We love to win things as people, in general we do. And so I decided that the only way that I was going to be able to get those people to engage on those 4 things, which, let's face it, if they're not posting 2 things right now, you're probably sitting there thinking, well, how on earth am I going to get them to share 4? Well, that's kind of what I thought. But I decided that this was going to be a weekly challenge, a challenge that was run every single week, where we have a weekly giveaway. And those giveaways, I run the group with one of my coaches, Jo. She's absolutely amazing. But the giveaways are really based on the individual person. Is it kind of a self-care giveaway where we've gone to go and get a few face masks and things, or personal branded team swag, water bottles, team t-shirts, but really making it personal and making sure that whomever won the prize, when they have posted those 4 things every day, 7 days a week, when they go into this kind of giveaway wheel and there'll be one winner, that gift comes from their coach with a personal note. And that personal touch is so fundamental. But of course, it also makes it fun. It makes it fun for me to go in there and see what everybody's doing. And we built this challenge. And yes, every single week, either Jo or I go into that group and we go through and we work out who has posted on all 4 of those topics and put them into a spin wheel to see who will win. But the engagement has grown, and it's honestly been amazing. The other thing that I want to share as an aside to those 4 things that we build into a challenge every week is lead by example and make sure you're engaging, right? It's so true as a coach, as Michelle was saying, lead by example, go into your stories and share what you're doing. But if we're not doing that in our BOD groups, then how can we expect our challengers, clients, or new coaches to be able to understand the basis under which they need to build successful groups, or they're going to build healthy lifestyle habits? And I don't know about you, but my absolute bugbear with this business is to have somebody come in and join me and to drop them in the ocean, to have them start, the 21-day fix or 645, and for them to just adopt that regime for the period of the program, because I haven't done my job properly if I haven't helped them create a healthy lifestyle. This is about creating health for the rest of their lives. And if we aren't building in, particularly the mindset piece on top of everything else, there is only so much consistency that we're going to be able to help our clients build. And what we found by leading by example is that everyone shares more. Joe and I make it an absolute non-negotiable to share those 4 things every single day. And we go in once a day, each of us, and we engage on what people have posted in the bod group. And you could say, well, that's not massively important. I should be out there inviting more. Yes, you should. But it is about the service that people receive. I don't want people joining me and then them being dropped in the ocean and them taking the time to share the stuff we've asked them to share and then not engage in their stuff. And yes, it takes 20 minutes a day, but it's absolutely worth it. And remember, this is, it's all about customer service. It's all about building your reputation, building trust, and having fun. And I have found that as a result of doing that, my client retention has really built over these past, 18 months, I would say. So really think about that. And I also, with my bod groups, I engage with my clients in there, but once a week on a Sunday, I reach out to my clients and coaches and make sure that I've checked in with them, make sure they're okay, make sure that I'm that coach that they remember, because actually I'm not just engaging with them in the bod group, okay? And that takes probably about 5 minutes. So that's really how it's turned a corner for me, massively when I became a coach. And for a long, long time, I really, really struggled with challenge groups. But as I've said, I'm going to summarize what I've covered. Think about what's working for you in your group. Write it down. What's not working? What is working? What do you most enjoy as a coach? And how can you lead that as a thread through your group? What challenge can you do? And I would implore you to build it on those 4 things I've shared. So you're building it on the fitness, the Shakeology. Yes, those 2 things come into the bod group, but also nutrition and mindset. Okay. And how can you build that in? And then creating a challenge and a giveaway around it. And you'll find you'll have so much more fun with it.
I love the photo that's behind you. Enjoy the journey, because if you were bored with your groups, then your challengers were bored with the group, right? And then what you said, if you want to improve engagement, you have to be engaged. Like, it's just modeling the behavior. It just sounds so simple. You did a really, really nice job of just reminding people how simple it is. We're making it more difficult, but just to check in with yourself and to check in with your group. Izzy, you've been around 3 years now. You have been coaching 3 years. Can you share with us what's been a key factor in your success?
Yeah, of course. So for me, this is probably the most difficult part of the call. And Sandy knows this. I've actually covered it for the opening of a super weekend. But really sadly for me, 2 months into coaching, my mum suffered a massive brain aneurysm and she passed away. And that was, and still is, the most traumatic period of my life. I've moved through so much. But as a result of losing my mum in May 2018, it really gave me this stark realization that life is not guaranteed to anyone. We could get hit by a bus tomorrow. And I was always that girl who sought approval for everything I did in my career. That's why I stayed in that property career for so long, because it was what society expected of me. And I implore you guys to think about this. I really hope that no one here has suffered the loss of a parent who suddenly, as I have, and I'm sure there possibly are people on this call who have. But it really made me realize that I can't spend my life worrying about what other people want me to do, worrying about what X or Y thinks of me. And it made me draw a line in the sand and made me realize that actually the most important thing on this earth is to live a long and prosperous, healthy life for as long as possible and be as happy as possible, and to make an impact to people's lives that is meaningful. And there is nothing that then became more meaningful to me than creating a healthy lifestyle for me and my family, creating a legacy for them, but helping other women all over the globe lead healthy lives so they can lead by example for their families, but also create that same legacy too. And that for me was a massive, massive turning point, as I'm sure you can imagine. And I decided in that moment, I had 2 decisions. I talked to my team about this a lot. You can either be a victim or a victor. You have the decision. No matter how difficult a period in life you're going through, the power is in both hands. And I decided that horrific experience in my life was going to be the catalyst for me creating the new life, for me creating a new life for my family, where, do you know what, no matter what happened, I could lean into personal development. And I have to be honest, personal development, seeing a counselor, psychologist at the time, and I'd rather be completely honest about that, was absolutely the reason why I've seen success. Any possible moment when I was dropping Arthur at nursery, or I was racing to teach a spin class, cleaning, cooking, doing all of that, I would listen to personal development at any opportunity and soak up any coach training that I could possibly find, because I had made the decision that I was not going to become a victim of this situation. I was going to create an unbelievable life that my mum could be really proud of. And I know she's proud of me. So don't ever, ever fall into that victim mindset. And I would just also say my kind of character has always been determined and resilient. Ever since I was a little girl, I'd get through the front door with my reading homework and I would ask my mum to take inside. I've always been that girl that loves to learn. If you're determined and you're resilient, I promise you, it doesn't matter where you are right now with your business, whether or not you've started yesterday and you've got no idea what you're doing, you can create the most unbelievable success in this business with those two characteristics. And of course, a passion and love for what we do by getting your own results. The final thing that I wanted to mention was actually somebody else that I met at a Tina Turner event who was my corporate mentor for a little while. And I was pushing for Diamond. And I turned to him and I said, I'm really trying to go Diamond by, I think it was some date in December. And he turned to me and in a really blunt, like I almost got offended. He turned and he said, Izzy, don't ever try and do anything. Just decide you're going to do it. And I can promise you, from that day onwards, I became really aware of the voices in my head. I became aware when I was saying, I want to, or I'm trying, or I'm doing my best, or I'm hoping, and decided that I wasn't going to be the girl that hoped. I was going to be the girl that did it. And I was going to be the girl that did herself proud and did her mum proud. And you can all do that. And the final thing that I want to share is that if you ever doubt your capability, or your ability to be able to help people, remind yourself of what it's done for you. Remind yourself of why you're here. You're all sitting on this call because you believe in what we're doing, okay? And I want you all to remind yourself of that, because this business is not linear. We go through good markets and we go through markets. We work in markets in any capacity, no matter what you do, you're working in a market. But if you remind yourself of why you're doing this and what it's brought to your life, you will get over yourself, stop making it about you, and realize that you have the most incredible power in both hands to be able to change somebody's life who might be going through something worse than you and needs this. But as you know, as we said earlier on in the call, if you don't get off your hands and share it, no one's going to know. So thanks, Sandy.
Wow. That was an unbelievable message to the field. I want to thank you so much, Izzy. I know how hard it is for you to share about your mother, but the lessons that you've learned since then are so applicable to everything. So thank you for doing that. I appreciate you so much. You did a great job. And people who missed this call should go back and listen to it. But what I would like to do is I have a little surprise at the end of this call. So thank you, Izzy. I have a surprise. If everybody can stick around a little over 10 minutes, Carl Deichler had a message for our coaches on the roundtable this weekend. Those are our coaches who achieve over 5-star Diamond. They're invited to a private Facebook group called The Roundtable. And he had a message for them and he wanted me to share it with all of you. And I think it has really good insight as to what you're facing with as being a coach right now, this time. And I would like for you to stick around and watch it and tag your coaches to watch it. And if not, they can go watch it later. But here we go. Let me get Carl on here.
I want to describe to you why I think Team Beachbody is so important. Why what Team Beachbody does as a business. Why it's so important. Because I think sometimes I take for granted that what's up in my head and what precipitated the very beginning of this, that it's obvious. And maybe it's not. Because I know you get a lot of criticism out there from family members or people who are like, oh, you can't start a business, or that'll never work, or that's a pyramid scheme, or whatever. And it's easy to get disheartened. But here's the truth right now. People are unhealthy. People are overweight in ways that undermine their lives and their relationships with themselves. People are addicted to escaping life through food or through gratification. And, we've seen a body positivity movement, and that's awesome. But nobody likes to feel lethargic. People don't like to be vulnerable to lifestyle disease. That's not body positivity. There's a difference between body positivity and loving yourself and accepting yourself and taking the initiative to be a part of life in a healthy, productive way that serves you so that you're less likely to get sick, so that you're more likely to thrive. But it's hard. Lifestyle change is incredibly hard. I've done rounds of Power 90, P90X, 21-day fix, 21-day fix extreme. Now I'm doing 645. Look, it is hard to stay consistent. And fitness is one thing, but to stay on a nutrition plan when everyone around you does whatever they want, they eat whatever they want, well, that's hard. To drink a shake that everyone around you tells you is overpriced, but you know that it's good for you, well, that's hard. You know how it feels, though, to feel healthy. You know the difference. And now, of course, we're about to add this layer that's super exciting. The launch of daily live and video on demand content designed for the people who aren't in the middle of a program. They just want to do 2 or 3 workouts a week. And maybe they want to, maybe they want the best experience on an indoor bike. And that's what we're going to provide them. And they're going to get ongoing recipes and meal plans and more things to develop. We've got more things in development that are all designed to help people achieve their goals. But here's the thing, and this is what I think the most important thing I wanted to say today. It doesn't happen by itself, or it happens very rarely by itself. Yeah, we can market stuff through advertising. That's part of the model. But the magic is giving the opportunity to share in the upside of helping people with the actual people who are doing it. I'll say that again, to share in the upside of helping people for a company, to share in the revenue opportunity of helping people by sharing it with the people who are actually doing the hard work of helping themselves. What's not okay, as you know, is to act like earning, excuse me. What's not okay is to act like earning an income with this business is easy or a sure thing. It's not. But you know what I obsess about every day and night? I obsess about what it would be like for tens of millions of people who struggle with their health and their self-esteem and their overall fitness to take the initiative to get better, to do better, as if it's their mission, and to show their followers that it's possible. But unlike the Pelotons or the Nooms and other apps out there, when someone succeeds with this lifestyle change, they do this miraculous thing. And that creates demand for more people to be a part of it. They get paid for helping inspire that next person. This is why it's so important that you and your team and the people that you bring onto your team do a program and remind people that they can do it, not by saying it, but by doing it. What you do as leaders, as coaches, is so damn important. And people should get paid for inspiring and supporting people for solving those problems. What you do for inspiring and supporting people with bod groups deserves to be paid when it results in people getting started with the total solution and getting long-term results. I need you to know that. What you're doing isn't some mercenary MLM that only cares about sales. This is people helping people and getting rewarded for it. You need to know that what you do is freaking heroic. I wish I could wake you up every day, get you out of bed, and tell you, you are a hero. Look, there's complainers, there's whiners, there's people who roll over and become victims of life and want everyone else to take care of them. But instead, here you are, showing up on this round table, and you're doing something. And I know sometimes we make it complicated and we're trying to figure out, nobody's done what we're doing. But you show up, and you need to tell your team that that's what we are. You need to tell your prospects that that's what they can be. An inspiration to other people. And when they do that, when they lose that 50 pounds or that 20 pounds, or maybe they get control of an eating disorder, or they just start to feel healthy and they start to see their kids get inspired, they deserve to get paid when that inspires somebody else to do the same thing. Look, I know there's always tension out there about income claims. We've heard it from the cab. Why does legal have to come on to us so hard about income claims? That's because while some people have made great lives for themselves, that's never been what it's about. I love that it's a possibility. But this is about a company giving the people who do the hard work of committing to a program and a nutrition plan a share in the revenue that their behavior creates. And that might be just one commission, or that might be tens of thousands of commissions. That's why we can never stop. It's not an affiliate deal where we give you a commission for being an influencer. That's a great way to sell candles and subscription boxes. This is about inspiring people to do a program and eat a little healthier and drink a shake that will feed their body adaptogen superfoods that will help them stay healthy. This is what we do. It is miraculous. You need to see the power of what you do. Your team needs to stand up straight and think, hell yeah, every time I post, I am a part of the solution. Did you ever see that Pixar movie? It's called WALL-E, right? About the little computer. And he's in this world, this sort of cartoon dystopian world where all the humans are constantly consuming soda and plates from a buffet. They're piling super high, and they don't move. They have machines that roll them around to look at things. That's not pretend. That's 1/3 of the population right there. That's just about consumption. Who's going to solve that? It's not a company with a miracle product. It's a team of miraculous people. It's you helping people start a program because you are doing a program. It's people who get paid when they help people. And the more people you get on your team to inspire like that, yes, then the more money you make. And I hope you're friggin' loaded from that, because that means you're helping more people. And that's what we need in the world. That's what you need to tell people. That's what's important. The more you inspire, the more you can make. Obviously, there's no guarantee of income for this because there's no guarantee of inspiration. This isn't a pyramid. This is a lifeline to people who were brought up on TV and junk food. And now we have the ability to inspire them with our actions that life can be better, that you can be healthier. And yes, y'all deserve to be paid for that. And the people you bring on your teams deserve to be paid for that. And be proud of that, because that's what this company does. We saw people getting results with P90X and we're like, they're creating incredible demand for us. We don't deserve all that money if they're the ones pushing play. Right now, if you're doing 645, we don't deserve all the money from the people you're inspiring. You deserve a piece of that. That's one of the reasons for the August promo code that we just put out. The job is to do a workout, to share it, to feel so inspired yourself that people can't resist but to watch and want to be part of making these healthy choices like you're doing. That's why we want to get to a message of simplicity. You know, I came on here, I looked at the top of the round table, and I'm like, we still aren't there yet. We got all the promotions, all the things. At the end of the day, it's a very simple approach that is scalable, that we need you to get back to. And maybe you're already there. So I don't want to correct anything that's working for you. But maybe the new people on your team need to understand the very essence of the starting point of this. And that was, we saw people doing Power 90, Slim and 6, Turbo Fire, Turbo Jam, P90X, and so on, getting incredible results. like their hard work, dialing in their food, and then we were making all the money. And that didn't seem right. And by the way, we also wanted to see people maintain their results. So we thought, wait a minute, if maintaining their results is also inspiring them, they deserve to get a piece of that inspiration, helping people with the total solution. We're aligned. We just want everyone to focus on this one single thing. So that's why you all active coaches got this extra $10 off, that including on all the packs that are on sale. That's $20 off. Let's Get Up at $140, $645 at $160. Packs include 30 days of Nutrition Plus, which gives people access to the body beta test. Codes can be used by any coach or with any customer, meaning to sign up a coach or to sign up a customer. But it's only week. It's only 1 week for you and your team. It's that little extra something as we finish off August. What do we got? Just a few days. These codes expire in 3 days. And the most important thing is that we get people started with a program with the total solution. And I know, there are millions of people out there. Their kids just went back to school and they would love to feel better in their own skin, but it's hard. I'm experiencing that hard with 645. Many people on the team at corporate know it's hard to stay consistent. But when we do it, we inspire others, and that makes a big difference. Okay. I hope that made sense. That's what I really wanted to say here today. The world needs you right now. The world needs this business model. And you should be proud of this business model where people get paid when their healthy actions inspire others. And when coaches support people for sticking with it. Do you get that? We need you. The world needs you. And we need more of you. Please know it. Please be proud of it and teach it to your teams.
Hi. Okay. It ended a little earlier than I thought, but you guys, the message is quite clear. Today's call was just fire all around with just every message being the same. You're needed. We need you. It's time to make this business happen for you. And I'm just so happy that you come here every Monday and you get a little bit of inspiration to go out there and be massively productive and a lot of activities. So couple more days of August until we go into September. Make it a great week, you guys. I'll see you here next week. Bye-bye.